You won't believe how one serendipitous visit to a military academy triggered a chain reaction that forever altered lives. What was begun as a silent challenge turned into something much more profound, unveiling bravery, empathy, and the force of merely believing in a person. Hey viewers, this story might just stay with you. Press play to take the plunge. Maryland's Naval Academy hummed with vitality on a cold Monday morning. Cadets marched in unison, the soles of their boots striking the pavement in crisp, sharp rhythms. The instructor stood by, eyes narrowed, presence authoritarian. In the midst of order and with precision came a shiny black SUV, which pulled up at the front gate, garnering interested glances from surrounding cadets. The guard stood rigid as the door swung open, and out stepped a tall figure, his well-tailored suit spotless, his signature, golden locks, unmistakable. Donald Trump? Why is he here? Cadet Lieutenant Sarah Miller asked her friend, Ethan, in a hushed tone. Without fanfare, the previous president marched purposely through the gates, holding a brief, soft leather case. Nobody was expecting him. His unannounced appearance created waves of whispers across the campus. Staff and cadets alike were left wondering. As Trump headed toward the main building, a uniformed officer promptly rushed up, executing a crisp salute. Mr. President, it's an honor, sir. May I ask, what brings you to the Academy today? Trump smiled but kept his cards close to his chest. Here to observe, and have a quiet word with your best cadets, off the record. The officer blinked but nodded, then promptly passed the word to assemble a carefully selected group of cadets. In their midst was Sarah Miller, well respected for her leadership and steadfast sense of duty. As the cadets stood in military precision, Trump walked slowly before them, his eyes traversing every face with intense thoughtfulness. When he fixed his attention on Sarah, it lingered. Let's go for a walk, he stated, gesturing for her to accompany him. The other cadets gave her a confused look. Why her? Sarah's thoughts were racing with questions as she kept pace beside him. Why was he picking on her? She attempted to decode his expression, but Trump's face was serene, offering nothing. So, Sarah, he stated after a few resultant paces, why'd you join the Navy? She squared her shoulders. To serve my country, sir, and to follow in my father's footsteps. Your father? Trump's voice was slightly softer. Navy died on a rescue mission. I was 12 years old. And then I vowed, follow in his footsteps. Trump nodded silently, and for an instant, something of his characteristic bravado seemed to drop away. There was a flash of something softer behind his eyes. He must have been an amazing man. Let's walk faster. I want to hear more. The two strolled past the Academy's training grounds, where cadets were scrambling to work, drills, obstacle courses, simulated missions. Trump's eyes scanned the scenes, as if mentally taking note of all. Then he faced Sarah again. Tell me, he said, do you feel that you're the best cadet here? The question was unexpected. Sarah hesitated. I'm not sure about the best, sir, but I do work harder than most. Trump stopped walking and turned to face her. Hard work is good, he said, but confidence, that's essential. He pointed toward a nearby obstacle course. Show me what you're made of. Finish that course faster than anyone in your unit ever has. The challenge had come out of nowhere, but Sarah didn't hesitate. She knew there was no backing down now. She took a steadying breath and stepped forward. The course that lay before her was fabled, dreaded for its raw intensity. Wooden walls that seemed to touch the sky, muddy trenches as deep as they were wide, and dense rope climbs pushed not only a cadet's physical strength, but their resolve and stamina. Rumors spread like flames. Donald Trump himself had directly challenged Sarah Miller. Cadets and instructors moved in quickly, crowding the perimeters, eyes fixed on her. With a resolute nod, Sarah embarked on the course. Each step was swift, purposeful, precise. She climbed up massive walls, swung out over great chasms, and crawled under rolls of barbed wire. Her uniform streaked with mud, her breathing tight with each thrust. Mid-race, her arms were crying out with fatigue, and her legs were leaden. She slipped briefly on a wet, muddy slope. Gasps rang out, but she recovered, struck harder, and with one final bound, Sarah reached the finish line, dropping to her knees, chest convulsing. Trump stood close by, applauding, slowly. Extraordinary, Cadet Miller, he said, but this This is merely the start. After the course, Sarah and a group of fellow cadets were called into a briefing room. The air inside buzzed with quiet whispers and restless curiosity. At the front of the room stood Trump. His small leather briefcase now rested on the table. Then finally he spoke. "You're probably wondering why I'm here," he began. He popped open the briefcase and pulled out a folder stamped with bold letters, Operation Valor. "This," he held it up, "is why I came." He waited for a moment before he continued. "I'm introducing a new program, something that's near and dear to me. It's called Operation Valor, a program to reward hidden heroes and to train the next leaders." He scanned the room. "And you've been selected to be included." The cadets looked at one another, baffled. Sarah waved her hand. "Why us, sir?" Trump never broke his gaze. "Because you embody the greatest of this nation's character. You're tough. You're strong. You are unselfish. That's the kind of example we should have." He told the story of the mission. Operation Valor wasn't ceremonial or speech-making. It was genuine hands-on labor. The mission? To mentor disadvantaged kids, children who had experienced adversity and loss before they ever got to experience opportunity. "You'll work with kids from some of the toughest neighborhoods in the country," Trump said. "They've struggled with things you can't even imagine. Your role is to help them out, to help them see what can be done." Sarah nodded, her mind a jumble of excitement and fear. This was something more than she had expected. It was big, real, and personal. At the end of the briefing, Trump leaned in toward her. "Just one thing," he replied softly. "These children, they don't simply require order. They require something more. They require hope." He searched her eyes. "Can you provide it to them?" Sarah hesitated, not knowing herself but willing to attempt it. "Yes, sir, I will try my best." Sarah's tone was firm, determined. A week afterwards, the cadets met the youth they'd be mentoring. They were a group of inner-city youths, each teenager bearing their own silent burden, each with a unique tale of adversity. Among them was one who was particularly noteworthy. Malik, 15, had a wild glint in his eyes and an aggressive edge to his voice. His body was braced, arms crossed over his chest tightly, like a wall constructed too many times before. Sarah walked up to him, and Malik shot her a hard stare. "I don't need your help," he declared, voice heavy with attitude. But Sarah did not back down. She gave him a serene, almost teasing smile. "Well, that's good," she replied, "because I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to work with you." Malik smirked slightly, a flicker of surprise breaking through his tough front. "We'll see about that." From a distance, Trump watched quietly. He leaned toward one of the instructors beside him. "Watch her," he said in a low voice. "She's got what it takes, but she'll need patience. That kid won't be easy." Back at the academy, Sarah's friend Ethan remained unconvinced. "I don't understand," he complained as they walked side by side. "Trump, of all individuals, why would he be interested in mentoring kids from the streets?" Sarah shrugged. "Does it really matter? If it helps at least one of them, isn't it worth it?" Ethan scowled. "I just don't believe his motives. What if this is all just a publicity stunt?" Sarah sighed, the irritation dancing on her words. "You are always so cynical, Ethan. Perhaps this has nothing to do with him. Perhaps it is about us, what we can do." Ethan relaxed, his face unsure. He lacked a retort. At his core, he wanted to believe in the cause, but there was still something that didn't feel right. The next few days, Sarah focused all her energy on bonding with Malik. But it was as if conversing with a locked door. Each time she attempted to reach out, he moved further away. He rolled his eyes, grumbled snide remarks, or walked away before she could even get a word out. Nevertheless, she didn't quit. One afternoon, she saw him sitting by himself under a tree, notebook in his hand. He didn't see her at first. He was drawing, his pencil moving with intense concentration. Sarah walked over quietly, squatting down beside him. "That's good." She nodded toward his sketch. Malik looked up, startled. He snapped the notebook shut. "It's just a sketch," he muttered, shrugging as if it didn't exist. "Is that a battleship?" Sarah asked. He paused, then nodded slightly. "Yeah, but I'm not ever going to get to design one. Guys like me don't receive opportunities like that." Sarah smiled gently. "Maybe they do. You just need someone who believes in you. Meanwhile, Sarah continued trying to contact Malik. Trump made a quiet visit of his own. To Malik's mother, she was a single mother, barely scraping by on 2 jobs to light the lamps. Between shifts and payments, she hardly had time to stay ahead of her son's expanding needs. And still, she was doing her best, struggling for him in every manner she could. I've heard about Malik, Trump said, seated in the modest living room. The furniture was worn but clean, and a faint smell of cooking lingered in the air. He's got potential, but he needs support. Malik's mother gazed at him warily, her arms folded. And what do you plan to do about it? Saying little, Trump handed her a letter. In the envelope, she discovered a letter, an offer of a scholarship to a school of art and design. This is for his future, Trump explained quietly. For a second, silence reigned in the room. Then tears welled up in her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. I've been praying for a miracle. Maybe this is it. Still uneasy about Operation Valor, Ethan decided to go see it for himself. He visited one of the youth centers partnered with the program. As he stepped inside, he saw cadets working side by side with the kids, helping with schoolwork, leading team-building games, and even running mock Navy drills. There was an air of excitement about it, genuine interest, not contrived or artificial. As he entered the hallway, a little boy, perhaps 12 years old, came up to him and stood rigidly at attention. Sir, I'm going to be just like you when I am big, exclaimed the boy, proudly saluting. Ethan stood stock still, taken aback. The boy's bright, optimistic eyes shone with dreams. Later in the day, Ethan observed Sarah with Malik in silence. He noticed the attention she put into each sentence, the tolerance in her voice, the struggle in her smile, and something within Ethan changed. Perhaps this had nothing to do with politics, or headlines, or reputation. Perhaps it was about actual, measurable change. One night, Sarah discovered Trump sitting quietly beside the Academy memorial wall. The fallen Navy officers' names were etched in the stone, softly radiating in the light. She came close slowly. You've surprised me, sir, she said softly. I didn't think you would care this much. Trump released a soft chuckle. There's a lot people don't know about me, he said. I've made my share of mistakes, but I've also learned that real leadership isn't about power. It's about service. What? Sarah sat beside him, thoughtful. Do you ever regret anything? Trump's face turned serious. Plenty, he said, but regret doesn't change the past. It just pushes you to do better now in the present. Following weeks of effort, something finally changed between Sarah and Malik. One day he approached her, nearly shy, and extended his notebook. There was a new sketch inside, a futuristic aircraft carrier, streamlined and dreamy. Sarah's eyes went wide with sincere appreciation. This is amazing, she said, smiling. You should think about going into engineering. Malik shrugged. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever be accepted, Malik said softly. Sarah inched in a bit closer. What if I told you someone already thinks you can? Malik furrowed his brow, perplexed. What are you talking about? Sarah smiled softly. Let's just say, there are people in your corner, people who believe in what you can do, even when you can't. Later, Trump brought the cadets and the children together for one last challenge, a leadership camp to test everything they had learned. The cadets handled the activity, from planning to equipment, while the children were divided into groups. Each group was assigned to solve challenges that required teamwork, ingenuity, and determination. Sarah's team, which was being led by Malik, was having a hard time initially. There were problems, miscommunication, and frustration. Something changed. Malik started to take charge. He started coming up with ideas, leading his peers, problem-solving rather than merely responding. By the last day of camp, his group had a fully detailed model of a ship, a thoughtfully designed and executed one, fully explained. It was impressive not only to the cadets but to the instructors as well. Trump sat on the sidelines, a small smile playing at the edges of his mouth. During the closing ceremony, Trump took the stage. The room fell silent as cadets, children, and instructors turned to hear him speak. I've seen extraordinary potential here, he began, and I'm proud to announce that Operation Valor will expand nationwide. The room erupted in applause. This program, he continued, is about more than mentoring. It's about investing in the future of our country, And it's thanks to people like Cadet Miller and her team that this dream is becoming a reality. Sarah's chest filled with a surge of emotion. She had set out uncertain. She didn't know what any of this was for, but now she knew. They had changed something. As Sarah prepared to leave camp, Malik presented her with a creased piece of paper. "Don't open it yet," he whispered. "Wait." Later that night, back at the academy, Sarah unfolded the letter. It contained, "Dear Sarah, thanks for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thanks to you, I'm going to engineering school. I want to build ships, real ones, not drawings. You turned my problem around, and I'll never forget it." At Malik. Sarah fought tears. All the work, the uncertainty, the long hours, it had been worth it. Trump was about to leave the academy when he located Sarah one last time. "You've done something amazing here," he told her. Sarah nodded. "It wasn't all me, it was all of us." Trump smiled. "True, but every great team requires a leader. You remind me of someone I used to know. Fearless, ambitious, compassionate. Never forget that." Sarah's throat swelled up with emotion. "Thank you, sir, for everything." He nodded, his eyes pensive. "Continue making a difference, Cadet Miller. The world needs individuals like you." Months went by. Operation Valor expanded, branching into cities nationwide. Stories emerged of children like Malik pursuing their passions, doing what had seemed impossible before. Sarah heard from her charges, each letter a reminder of the subtle, enduring marks she'd left behind. Even Ethan, the original doubter, now fully believed. He became a mentor too, educating a new generation of children in leadership and perseverance. As for Trump, he stepped back into the shadows, but he never wavered in his support of the mission. Behind the scenes, quietly, he continued to support and direct Operation Valor, because real change never comes on television. It comes in classrooms, on drill fields, and in the quiet, consistent moments of faith. Afternoon mail delivery brought a package to Sarah. Inside was a picture of Malik, proudly standing in front of a university engineering complex, holding aloft a blueprint of a ship he'd designed. Tucked alongside it was a note. "Dear Sarah, I made it. Thank you for everything." Malik, Sarah clutched the photo in her hands, heart full. She gazed at the proud young man beaming back at her and knew. One serendipitous visit from a man the world never quite grasped had ignited something powerful. A chain reaction of hope, of mentorship, of second chances. And at the end of it all, Trump's legacy wasn't etched in headlines or booming speeches. It existed quietly in the lives he helped change. One step, one story, one person at a time. Oftentimes, the most radical transformations start not with big gestures, but with a simple moment of faith. Somebody believing in us before we believe in ourselves. For Malik, it was an opportunity, a word of support, an opening of a door where once there had been none. And for Sarah, it was the realization that leadership isn't about medals or commands. It's about showing up, listening, and holding space for somebody else to evolve. We all have times when we wonder if we're worth it or if what we're doing is even making a difference. But in those little consistent acts of kindness, in the perseverance to keep going, the strength to care, lives are transformed. And perhaps, just perhaps, those are the moments that make us who we are. So tonight, as the world slows down around you, consider the power one individual can wield. Perhaps that individual is you.